Namaskar and hello. Welcome to your favorite Shridevi Classes YouTube channel where we inculcate interest and understanding in science and engineering subject by clarity of concept and right understanding. Today in our playlist class 12th physics we will study electric field from any arbitrary shaped charged surface and will found that electric field intensity external to a surface is normal to the surface and is directly proportional to surface charge density. With the same logic, we will study electrostatic pressure developed on surfaces when any surface is charged and we'll see properties of charged soap bubble. So let's start. We know that on a charged conductor closed surface, all charge reside only on outer surface, but for any arbitrary shape of closed surface, the surface charge density have a variable value, and for sharp pointed edges or corners, surface charge density got a higher value, and for flat surface charge density got smaller value. In such variable surface charge density conditions, we have to find out that electric field near charged conductor surface is directly proportional to surface charge density of that position. So for that we have taken a small elemental surface area ds having surface charge density sigma, and this sigma is not the same all over the surface, but for this small elemental surface we can treat surface charge density sigma as constant. And now let's take two test position A and B very close to this elemental surface area, one inside the closed conductor and second outside the closed conductor, and we treat that at these two positions A and B, this elemental surface area and the remaining surface area of charged surface produce their own separate electric field contribution, respectively E1 and E2. E1 is contribution of small elemental surface charge area and E2 is electric field contribution at A and B by the remaining surface area, which is also charged but have a variable surface charge density. Let E1 is the electric field contribution of elemental surface charge area having sigma surface charge density. We know for a flat surface area of sigma charge density, electric field for positively charged surface is radial outward perpendicular to this charged surface and having value sigma upon 2 epsilon to the both sides as shown by these arrow directions. For positive charge it is in outward directions. This electric field for such nearby positions won't change its magnitude with distance from surface, as a plane surface area of sigma surface charge density produce sigma upon 2 epsilon uniform electric field to very closed positions to it. For remaining surface area having variable surface charge density, these two observation point A and B are so close to each other that electric field contribution by this remaining charge surface at both A and B position is identical and in the same direction, and let this electric field is E2. So at observation position A and B, elemental surface area produce identical magnitude electric field in opposite direction and remaining surface charge area produce identical magnitude of electric field but in the same direction. So electric field contribution of elemental surface area ds having charge sigma ds at A and B position is E1, equal in magnitude but opposite in direction, and the remaining charge surface area having variable surface charge density produce identical magnitude of electric field E2 in the same direction. Now we can use superposition principle and find out resultant electric field at A and B by adding electric field contribution of elemental surface charge area and the remaining total surface charge area vectorially. Now at A, which is internal to this hollow charged conductor surface, the resultant electric field is 0. As we know, charge on conductor surface distribute themselves in such an equilibrium position that their resultant contribution everywhere in internal position becomes 0. So here we have two electric contribution E1 and E2 in opposite direction. So the vector sum of the two is the magnitude difference, and as the resultant electric field at A position is 0, so E1 minus E2 0 means magnitude of electric field contribution of elemental surface charge area and the remaining total surface charged area is equal in magnitude, and we know elemental surface charge area produce sigma upon 2 epsilon electric field. So the remaining charge surface area also produce sigma upon 2 epsilon electric field, but these two electric field contribution which are equal in magnitude are in opposite direction, so they results in zero resultant electric field. That's the property of all charged conductor surface. Now for this external positions, now the two electric fields comes in the same direction, so the resultant electric field at external position is summation of two electric contribution. Electric contribution of elemental surface charge area is sigma upon 2 epsilon, and remaining charge surface area produce the same electric field at B position as it is produced at position A, and that's also sigma upon 2 epsilon. So the resultant electric contribution of this charge surface at external position very close to surface become sigma upon epsilon. So positions where surface charge density is higher, that means at sharp corners we will have higher value of surface electric field, and for flat surface having smaller value of surface charge density, the external resultant electric field would have smaller value. But electric field external to any closed surface is directly proportional to surface charge density and is given as a ratio of surface charge density to permittivity of media. If a conductor surface got excess positive charge, then that positive charge will distribute itself on outer surface with unequal surface charge density, and now like polarity charge of surface will have mutual repulsion force, and due to that mutual repulsion force, if this closed surface got a flexible structure, then the force will exert pressure on the surface of charged sphere, and we know pressure is defined as force per unit normal cross section area. So by that understanding we can find out electrostatic pressure generated on a charged conductor surface. So let's take a small elemental area ds. Elemental surface area ds got surface charge density sigma, which can be treated as constant over all over surface. So this ds surface has got sigma ds charge. Now this charge is placed in electric field produced by remaining charge surface, that is E2. In electrostatics we have an understanding that a charge can't produce force on itself, but if charge is distributed to several positions, then a smaller part of that distribution could have electric force from electric field produced by remaining portion of charge distribution. So here elemental surface area ds got sigma ds charge, and it is placed in electric field of remaining surface charge, that is E2. So E2 electric field produce force F on small sigma ds charge, and force per unit area is electrostatic pressure exerted on this charge surface, and area of this small charge surface is ds. So sigma ds charge in sigma upon 2 epsilon electric field will have this electric field multiplied by charge amount of force, and it has ds area. So force per unit area is electrostatic pressure, and electrostatic pressure on a charge surface having surface charge density sigma is sigma square upon 2 epsilon. That means if we increase surface charge density of any position to 2 times, then electrostatic pressure exerted by that charge surface will become 4 times. We know the resultant electric field produced by this closed surface at external position very close to this sigma charge is sigma upon epsilon. So in place of sigma we can write epsilon and electric field intensity product, and when it's square and divided by epsilon, then we'll get electrostatic pressure expression as half epsilon capital E square, where epsilon is medium permittivity and capital E is resultant electric field produced by charge surface very close to it. So in an electric field of strength E, the electrostatic pressure exerted by a charge surface is half epsilon capital E square. Force is measured in Newton, area is in meter square, so pressure got a unit Newton per meter square or Pascal. On a flexible charged conductor sphere, charge will reside only on outer surface with variable surface charge density, and elemental surface area ds got a constant surface charge density sigma and sigma ds charge on its surface, and this elemental surface charged area is placed in the electric field of remaining charge, which is E2, and will have force equal to electric field intensity multiplied by amount of charge. Mutual force on identical polarity charge is repulsion. That's also true. In this electric field direction, positive charge would have force in the direction of electric field in outward direction, and against force if we make displacement of this charge surface, and displacement is elemental displacement ds. This elemental displacement dx is so small that it will not disturb surface charge density distribution of remaining charge or electric field. So against force when displacement is done, we have to do small amount of work, and if work is done against force, then this work is called as positive work by external agency, and it is given by this yellow highlight. In place of electric field of remaining charge E2, we can write sigma upon 2 epsilon. Charge of elemental surface area is sigma ds, and for elemental displacement ds, total amount of work done is sigma square upon 2 epsilon. This sigma and sigma when multiplied becomes sigma square, and ds is this elemental surface area and dx is displacement of that surface area. So delta V is change of volume of this surface area, and now this work done in electrostatic field get converted into internal stored potential energy of this charged distribution, and we can find out energy density in this charge distribution as work done per unit volume, and when this volume is divided by same volume, then we will get energy density in such circumstances as sigma square upon 2 epsilon, and sigma is product of permittivity and electric field intensity. If sigma is replaced in terms of electric field intensity, it will become half epsilon capital E square, where capital E is resultant electric field contribution of entire charge surface external to it. And now we can conclude that if a surface got electric field intensity capital E external to it and very close to it and is placed in a media of permittivity epsilon, then that surface got energy density half epsilon capital E square, and this expression of energy density is identical to electrostatic pressure. So one can remember these figures, sigma square upon 2 epsilon or half epsilon E square, and now one can find out very easily the force required to move surface by an elemental displacement dx is electrostatic pressure sigma square upon 2 epsilon multiplied by elemental surface area ds, and energy or work required to move surfaces energy density multiplied by the volume change taken place there. So these expression of electrostatic pressure and energy density are very useful to find out force or energy calculation in electrostatics. Since we have derived expression of electrostatic pressure and energy density for any arbitrary shape or any arbitrary surface charge density, so this expression of electrostatic pressure sigma square upon 2 epsilon or half epsilon capital E square and the identical expression for energy density can be generalized and used for any similar conditions to find out force as pressure multiplied by area or amount of work or energy involved as energy density multiplied by volume. If a flexible liquid surface such as soap solution form a bubble, and if that bubble is charged, then we can find out surface charge condition of that charged bubble in terms of pressure exerted by surface tension. So first understand what is surface tension on such soap solution bubbles. As per molecular behavior, due to intermolecular cohesive force, we try to attract two nearby molecules. Liquid try to reduce its surface area to minimum size, and for a given internal volume, for a minimum surface area, bubble will form a sphere of minimum radius. When the bubble surface contract and reduce its internal volume, the pressure inside the soap solution bubble become more than external atmospheric pressure, and this difference of pressure is known as excess pressure, and this excess pressure is balanced by pressure generated by surface tension. We know surface tension is the force exerted by cohesive molecular action per unit of length. If soap bubble establish surface tension capital T, then this circular periphery is 2 pi r, and to both sides surface tension will act to contract this bubble. So two side periphery become 4 pi r, and per unit length force is surface tension. Then the total force exerted on bubble is 4 pi r T, and that force act on surface area pi r square of circular cross section. So force per unit area become 4 capital T over r, where capital T is surface tension of liquid in Newton per meter, and this surface tension pressure is balanced by excess pressure or the difference of pressure to internal positions and external positions. If flexible liquid surface of bubble is charged, whether the charge is positive or negative, the surface charge of identical polarity have mutual repulsion, and by the repulsion action, force on the surface of bubble generate electrostatic pressure in outward direction, and for surface charge density sigma, since bubble got a uniform spherical shape all over the the surface charge density is the same. So everywhere on the spherical surface, electrostatic pressure exerted in outward direction becomes sigma square upon 2 epsilon, where epsilon is permittivity of surrounding media. Now this electrostatic outward force or pressure try to increase the radius of bubble. So this will increase internal volume and reduce internal pressure. So with increased radius when bubble is charged, in terms of surface tension, the pressure difference between reduced internal pressure of increased volume and external pressure, the new excess pressure, become less than the previous excess pressure with increased radius r dash. Or we can say bubble in new charged condition have excess pressure and electrostatic pressure both in outward direction, and this become equal to excess pressure on the same bubble in previous condition. Before charging, radius is small and the excess pressure is 4T by R. After charging, when radius is increased, excess pressure has reduced, and this reduced excess pressure with electrostatic pressure become equal to previous excess pressure, and this expression can be used to find out change in radius when bubble is charged with any surface charge density or vice versa. If in a charged bubble internal pressure and external pressure are equal and there is no excess pressure difference, then we can say the electrostatic force acting in external direction and surface tension pressure try to reduce radius become equal and opposite. So surface tension pressure 40 by R become equal to electrostatic pressure, and by solving this equation we can find out surface charge density on a charged bubble having surface tension per unit length capital T and radius R in a media of permittivity epsilon as square root of 8 epsilon capital T divided by R. We know on such charged spherical bubble surface charge density is identical everywhere, and near to it to external position electric field is given as sigma upon epsilon, and when this expression of surface charge density is divided by epsilon, this epsilon in numerator side of square root will come in denominator side, and electric field intensity very close to such surface or on the surface is given as square root of 8T upon epsilon R. We know for a spherical surface potential at the surface is given as product of surface electric field intensity and radius of sphere. So in place of electric field intensity we can write ratio of surface charge density to permittivity, and surface charge density got a relation square root of 8 epsilon T over R. Then we can say potential is given as 8T R divided by epsilon. 8T in surface charge density and potential got identical position, but the position of epsilon and R in surface charge density expression and potential has changed. So we can say for a constant surface tension value in a charged bubble, surface charge density is inverse of square root of radius and potential is directly proportional to square root of radius. We can also find out total amount of surface charge on such sphere having radius R and total spherical surface area 4 pi R square, and surface charge density sigma. In place of surface charge density we can write 8 epsilon capital T over R in square root, and the same quantity 4 pi R square when brought in square root becomes square. 4 square is 16, pi square as pi square, and R square value is R4, and when this is simplified this become 128. One should remember this number figure 128 for objective examination. This pi square epsilon T as it is, and this R4 when divided by this R become R cube. So this R cube square root relation is often asked in examination, and surface charge is directly proportional to square root of R cube. Now you could understand that surface electric field of any arbitrary shape depends upon surface charge density and is given as ratio of surface charge density to permittivity of media. Now on similar line we have found out electrostatic pressure and studied the behavior of charged bubble. We finished this learning video here only, and we'll meet you again with similar informative video. Thank you very much.